Hold on. You know who else is not dead? Is George Foreman.
And he might need the money. I don't know that the grills are selling like they used to.
They're not. I don't know anybody that has one unless you're at a garage sale. You can get them, you know who has one? Michael Scott has one.
1,000%.
Grilled his foot. Hello and welcome to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, the Fat Jack. The weekend is here. Big weekend it is, as we have college football, NFL, NBA, college basketball, so much more. We're coming off another huge weekend. Gosh, we're just rolling them together one after the other in football right now. Basketball's into profit. If you're ready to make some money, go to fatjacksports.com and get signed up. You'll be into profit by the time we hit the holiday season, which is right around the corner. Let me quickly bring in my co-host from Louisville, Kentucky. Get this show underway and start making some money this weekend. Brandon, how are you, buddy?
I am good. We are nearly 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving, and it doesn't feel like it should be time for that yet. But you look back, we've stacked 2.5 months of football profit. It is time for turkey.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day, where is the football season gone? It's been a very quick year. I don't know why that is. I've done the same things, but it just seems like it has flown by to this point. We're only about halfway done. And basketball's very, very good right now. We're turning profit 2 out of every 3 days or so on average. So excited time to get that. And football has really picked up. We're making a lot of money. I always think back, when I start slow, which rarely happens, but this year did. I mean, we didn't have a great September. You can look at all the results under the results tab at fatjacksports.com. Everybody gets the same plays. They're posted. They're documented. And you'll see we were just kind of banging around in September. Guys calling me names, wishing for aneurysms and all sorts of ridiculous things. And I just wonder where those people are now. I mean, we're heading into the middle of November. Last week, again, we won on Friday. We're 4-2 on Saturday. 4-1 on Sunday. It's 2 4-1s in a row on Sunday. We had 11-3 earlier in the month. We had a 12-5 early in the month. Players props lost this week, and I guess we were due for that. It just figures the players prop. I hadn't really pushed those a whole lot. We've just been winning week after week after week, and so turning in a great profit. And after our 14-5 2 weeks ago, all right, let's get some people signed up for the players prop. So. Put out, you did some ads, talked about on the shows, different things, people taking a chance, dipping their toe into the players' props. A lot of guys have never done that before. And, of course, the problem with player props, Brandon, there's a bunch of them. We had like 14 on Sunday alone. And a few more multi-bets on certain players. We had Otten with 3 different bets or 2 different bets. And we had in that Tampa Bay game, Baker Mayfield also to throw an interception. So like 3 in one game, and they all 3 missed. So we ended up having a bad day in the props, but everything else, it's hard for me to get upset. I mean, I guess we were 14-5 the week before, so it's hard to really be upset. But I am excited for that to turn around and get caught up with the rest of football.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things that what I enjoy seeing is when those prop plays come out is about how they sometimes correlate to the actual selection or the picks that are being given out on any given Sunday. So you can kind of really go into a game almost knowing what's going to happen and how it's going to happen, who's going to lead the charge to get those wins. And yeah, Sunday was not a great day for the props, but when you go 4-1 on the selections and opinions, the props are inconsequential at that point.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's normally they do correlate. This week they really didn't. I mean, they were a little bit off on that. But I had a great week. Had Pittsburgh, had Buffalo, had Denver under, had Arizona under. All of the really easy. We didn't really have to earn. Pittsburgh, I guess we had to earn, but by the time they get down on the 1 yard line, they're going in and they fumble the ball on the 1. Even at that point, I thought they're going to get another shot and they're probably going to put it in the end zone. They started moving the ball. Pittsburgh's been very consistent in what they're doing. They're starting a little bit slow offensively. By the time they get the second half, they're kind of figuring it out. Russell Wilson has been more than capable to this point. I expect him to regress back to the middle. He's not going to play the rest of the year. I wouldn't think. I mean, maybe he will. Seattle's Russell Wilson. Maybe we get that for the rest of the year, and they're running deep into the playoffs. If they do, if he does, they're going to. They're going to be playing a long time.
That Steelers game. I mean, they had the botched fake punt early, and then they have that fumble at the 1 late. if one of those things doesn't happen, Pittsburgh wins that game comfortably. So yeah, we wouldn't even have to sweat that, and we go undefeated on this continent on Sunday.
Yeah, and last week we were 4-1 on Sunday, so we're dialed in on Sundays. We're dialed in. Football overall is dialed in. We're getting ready to move to this week. Go to FatJackSports.com. $99 for football this week. I'm going to run a $99 special. There are guys out there that are sitting on the fence. You're losing money on your own. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but you'll pay $99, but you won't pay $149. Some of you will pay $99, but you won't pay $149 with a $50 coupon. I don't understand that. Some of you won't pay $99 with or $89 for the rest per week for the rest of the month. You won't do that. You won't invest in 3 weeks at $89 or $79, but you will invest $99 for one weekend. So I don't get it, but I'm not going to try to figure it out. I just want you to win. So I'm going to run a $99 special. So
whichever way you get to the end zone works. Just get there.
Get on board. My gosh, 4-1. And it's funny. We're going to quickly before we move on to this week. Friday night, we win Friday night with UCLA. They turned the ball over twice in the first quarter going into the end zone. I mean, and still win and cover the number. Saturday we had teams like TCU giving 10 won by 1,000. We had Kansas over Iowa State getting 3-1 straight up. We had Clemson won by a million. I mean, Notre Dame. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I mean, the winners were not having to earn. And what was even nicer last week is we didn't have to earn the losses either. We didn't earn anything. The wins were easy. TCU, go back and look it up, guys, if you're out there driving around. Clemson won by 1 million. Notre Dame wins by 1 million. The loss is South Florida that lost to Navy by 100.
Didn't even score until late.
They were horrible. And Texas Tech that lost to Colorado. So we didn't have to earn those. The loss on Sunday was Chicago that also inept. I mean, if they haven't, by the time this thing runs around the country, if they haven't fired
Eberflus, yeah.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing, right?
There's two guys that either have naked pictures of the owners or they are just under such a contract restraint that the owners just don't want to waste the money because they don't know who the better option would be. It's him and obviously Mike McCarthy. What's going on in Dallas, Brandon? What's going on? I mean, why are they're playing Cooper Rush? Cooper Rush.
No relation.
I rarely say, well, I say it more than I should, but I'll say things like, I could do better. I could complete it as more passes, or we could have run on that defense. And obviously, if that ever happened, it'd be a bloodbath. I mean, we're not under any type of illusion that you and I lining up in the option and trying to run against the Oklahoma State defense is going to move the ball. It'd be a bloodbath. We would move backwards. We'd be injured. They have to slow down, shut the game down, and we'd have to move somebody else in. So I get that. I'm not positive I could have done worse than Cooper Rush.
No relation, by the way. But yeah, he's in a bad situation because that's an offensive line that really hasn't protected well this year. Mike McCarthy's play calling does not bode well for his players. He's like, he wants players to fit his scheme, not vice versa. And yeah, that is a disaster right now. And then you add in the ineptitude of Jerry Jones in his umpteenth year of not getting this team to where it probably could be. And then we saw late the CD Lamb miss in the end zone where he's staring into the sun because the way Jerry Jones built this stadium, you have factors outside the building impacting games inside the building, and that's not a good combination.
I'm not a Cowboy fan. I'm under no disillusion that they were going to beat Philadelphia, but I found myself early in that game, as early as I have all season long, asking myself, what did they do in practice? What happened in practice? What are they doing in practice that would lead them to believe that they have any type of product that is anywhere near competent to put on the field? They should refund everybody's ticket, unless you had a Philadelphia jersey on. You should have got a coupon for, I don't know, something free. At least a hot dog combo the next time you came to the stadium, or tacos at some local. Something should have been given out if you had to go to and pay for at Jerry World. You had to pay for that game because it was so bad from a group of professional athletes, Starting at Cooper Rush and starting with the head coach. So I don't understand Eberflus. I don't understand how his job. I don't understand how Mike McCarthy has both of them. I understand there's injuries. I'll be the first guy when you look at Oklahoma to say I would never fire Brent Venables right now. And this has nothing to do with the fact I'm friends with him. I like the guy, I like his family. I don't think they could do better. I think he's a great recruiter. I think they have 1,000 injuries, and we overlook that, especially in November. We want to overlook injuries. We don't say, oh, yeah, the injuries, but everybody has injuries, but that's not true. Everybody does have some injuries. Not everybody has all the injuries, and Oklahoma has all the injuries, and it's showing guys that don't know anything about football that it takes more than a quarterback that's capable, and it takes more than 2 or 3 positions and a name on the front of the jersey to win football games, even on the road at Missouri. So FatJackSports.com, $99. Let's get turned to this weekend. Let's make some money. Get signed up, $99, or add those player props. They're very inexpensive. This week I have a combo deal running that will get you player props for about $75 or $80. A bunch of those very, very profitable over the course of the season. They're winning about 5 out of every 6 weeks. Maybe more than that if you go back and look. They're really doing well. And this last week they lost. Probably not going to lose this week. So go get signed up for those props and make even more money. Listen, I looked at the board, Brandon, obviously.
I would hope, yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's early in the week. So let's not pretend that this thing is being taped or live on Saturday morning. So by the time we get to Saturday.
Well, we'll be knee deep in all the analysis. But yeah, this week is not great from a watchability standpoint. I mean, the fact that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson is fighting this weekend, and I'm actually considering watching that Saturday instead of any kind of football, is not a good sign.
I should go to that. That's in Dallas, right?
It is AT&T Stadium, yeah. Wow. Hopefully the sun doesn't get in somebody's eyes, because then it would be a problem.
That's Saturday night. Where do we find that on pay-per-view? I'm all about that. I'll tell you, I'm all about that, Brandon. But if and I think when Jake Paul wins, I'm going to be sad. Father Time is undefeated.
It is.
And Mike, I think it's just such a weak, and I have nothing against Jake Paul, but such a weak move to beat. It'd be like beating Mike Tyson if he was on his deathbed at the hospital. Or just because Mike Tyson doesn't know he's over the hill doesn't mean that Mike Tyson's not over the hill. And I just don't expect. Mike Tyson's older than me, right? He's like 54.
He's 59, I think.
He's almost 60 years old, dude. I understand he looks like he's in shape, but this is not a good spot. And Jake Paul's for real. I mean, he's a good fighter. Now, this guy's made a mint beating up people that are not in his weight class, that are not boxers. And now he's gonna put together this resume over his boxing career, and it's gonna look like he's done some pretty serious stuff.
Right.
Floyd Mayweather next, I guess. I mean, he's gonna beat Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's about my daughter's size.
Yeah, he's a small dude.
But that's what we're doing here. I mean, we're picking guys, we're paying them a bunch of money. And now we're picking some really big names. How about Sugar Ray Leonard? Is he up next?
Speaking of being over the hill, that guy, definitely. But yeah, I mean, he's running out of actual, or I guess non-actual boxers that he can throw out there. And granted, guy's a master marketer. I will give him props for that. But fight somebody. And I will say that if you're going to buy this pay-per-view, I'm judging you. If you're going to go to this pay-per-view, go to this event, I'm slightly judging you, because I mean, granted, you get to see Mike Tyson, but gosh, I despise Jake Paul with every fiber of my being. He's up there in like the top 10 list of guys I would probably run over if I saw him in traffic, but but the fact that I'm considering watching that instead of football,
you're going to be judging you, and you're going to be judging me.
I never claimed innocence.
Well, it's a big weekend. We're going to. By the way, don't make a mistake. Lots of opportunities to make money. Right. We will have a big. These are generally the weeks to where we make a ton of money. Like I said, I would take last week and I would copy it, and I would do it every single week. 4-1 on Saturday. 4-2 on Saturday, 4-1 on Sunday. You don't have to earn any of it. All easy winners, two or three bad losses, 9-3 over the course of the weekend. I'll take that every week. So for $99, if you're going to get signed up this week, expect that or more, because I think we're going to have another one of those. We're stringing together week after week a profit and doing really well. Which a marquee game, or whatever. What are you going to watch this weekend if you're not watching boxing? By the way, Evander Holyfield, there's another one. He could fight Evander Holyfield. What about
his 1 3/4 ears? Tennessee, Georgia's the only real game
else
this
is
weekend.
Not dead is George Foreman,
and he might need the money. I don't know that the grills are selling like they used to.
They're not. I don't know anybody that has one unless you're at a garage sale. You can get them, who has one? Michael Scott has one.
1,000%.
Grilled his foot. Tennessee, Georgia. That's obviously the game. What do you think about that one, Brandon? And a big one, by the way. Apologize to the Knoxville fans for not leading into that. That's not just a game; it's a big game. Number 3 versus number 7. Georgia, a 9-point favorite at home. Total 48.5 coming off the loss. Last week, we didn't talk about the marquee games last week. We ran through our record, but I would have won a little more had I played the marquee. And there was a time, Brandon, when I was thinking about releasing the marquee games. The marquee games were obviously Texas, in my opinion, basically the SEC Saturday. So Texas over Florida, Georgia over Ole Miss, and Alabama over LSU. There was a time when those were the 3. The elite players all got those plays. And I was not happy first thing Saturday morning when Texas was winning by 1,000 and South Florida was getting beat by 1,000. They looked like they had never seen the option before in their life. But so I thought about releasing those 3. But Georgia coming off that big loss, now they host Tennessee as almost a double-digit favorite. What are your thoughts on this one?
I feel like that Tennessee is capable of replicating what Ole Miss does on offense. I just don't know if they can keep that tempo. And with Georgia having played 2 very similar offenses in back-to-back weeks, I think they can go back and look at the film from that Ole Miss loss and extrapolate that into what they can do against Tennessee this weekend. I would expect that the Georgia defense plays better than they did a week ago. But I think Tennessee is a poor man's version of Ole Miss. So I feel like there was a time to get Georgia. It may have been last week, and had this schedule been flipped, it probably would have been the same thing. I think Tennessee would have beat Georgia had they played last week instead of playing them this week. Yeah,
the Tennessee has held every opponent under 20 points this year. They held Mississippi State under 20, right? I think it was out of hand. So I quit. What was it? Yeah, they let's see here. Mississippi State. They only had 14. 33-14. I didn't watch the game because I didn't need to. I didn't have it, and I was 4-2. But they've held every opponent now under 20 points. Brandon, that is elite air. From a defensive standpoint, this Tennessee team, and they're not getting enough credit. They will if they beat Georgia, because now they're going to be running marquee wins together. But their offense is not what I think they probably need to be to win big games on the road. Ole Miss in the rain at home with that defensive front that's as good. Their numbers are similar to what Tennessee is as far as overall defense, and you have Ole Miss defense that really gets a lot of money on, or a lot of pressure on the passer. How much money has Carson Beck lost this year? I mean, I wonder if he sits alone in his bed at night. And I'm not making fun, because I do feel bad for the kid. But this is a kid that, and I know he's made a bunch also. You're quarterback for Georgia. Let's not cry. He's not in the soup kitchen line. But he was projected to be the number 1 quarterback taken, maybe the number 1 overall pick taken. Heisman front runner, all those type of things. Now, no chance at the Heisman. No. And may make the first round, may not. I mean, he's a late first rounder at this point. And I just don't. I cringe to think how much money him coming back for his senior year that is underperformed to this point. I think it's changed, but to this point, have how much it's cost him. And I know he's not thinking about that on Saturdays, but I do wonder about that. But that Ole Miss front 7 will get pressure on you. Tennessee gets some pressure, but they don't do it at the same rate that what Ole Miss does. So I think this is going to be a great game. First question, does Georgia get over 20 points? I mean, the Vols aren't giving up 20, so they get over 20?
I mean, I would assume that they probably could, but then at the same time, I also would have thought that they would have been able to score more than 10 against Ole Miss. You look back at the Texas win, you look back at Florida. I mean, they hung 30 on everybody for like 5 straight games. So I was very surprised to see that they only mustered 10 points in that loss at Ole Miss. But you look back also, like the Kentucky game that they really should have lost in Lexington in September. Same kind of formula. It was a pressured front that got after them. So that kind of bodes well for Tennessee fans. But I expect them to score more than 10. I'll go that much. But 20, this Tennessee front is pretty ferocious. They get after it. So I would think they can get over 20. But
this show's been running in Knoxville for the better part of 15 years now, maybe more than that, man. But Jack was 9.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so at least 15 years. I've seen the evolution of the Tennessee Volunteer football team, and they are not used to losing right now. This team is 10-1 straight up their last 11 games. So just a little bit of perspective on what we're looking at on Saturday. If you look at the number at first glance, you're going to be like, all right, well, 9, that's, Georgia's going to win. They may cover, may not, but they're going to win. Tennessee's not used to losing. And I wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee won. It's not just that they're winning, that's how they're winning. So they're 10-1 in the last 11 games straight up. The total's gone under 5 of the last 6 Tennessee Volunteer games. So they're holding everybody under unless they're doing it offensively. And that keeps you around against an offense in Georgia that we've seen is flawed. We've seen their defense be flawed also. But even when they played Alabama and almost won, came back late in that game, they turned the ball over 4 times. So the high-scoring Georgia games have not necessarily been – Texas is the outlier. And I say going into that, we release Georgia. I like Georgia at Texas, and I would release them again, even though Texas is certainly trending the right way and Georgia's not. I just think Georgia matches up well against Texas. But this Vols team, they are no joke from a standpoint of giving up points. They just don't give you a bunch of points. I don't know how a team covers 10 if they can't score 20. I'll tell you that. I like Tennessee to score 20 points or score in the high teens, and that'll get you a cover. You get 2 touchdowns and you don't give up 20, you're gonna most likely cover. So give me the Vols plus the points on Saturday. It's your first free winner of the day. FatJackSports.com. We're gonna have 6-7 picks probably on Saturday. We're gonna have players props on Sunday. We're gonna have soccer. We're gonna branch outside the Premier League this week. It looks like I've been told. We'll see, but it looks like we're gonna have some soccer this week. And then we have UFC. There's also the Tyson fight, and I've talked to my UFC guy who won again last week. Got a small winning week last week. He says he's going to have a play on that fight or a play on that card. So you get that as a bonus. You're not paying for that if you sign up for the UFC. You're going to get that dumpster fire thrown in absolutely free with your UFC packet. So a lot of reasons besides the $99 special, which we're running off at 8-2. Last 2 Sundays combined 8-2 in the NFL. Been very, very easy winners. We are 9-3 on Monday nights. We're winning on Thursdays. We're winning on Fridays. We're winning on Mondays. We're winning during the week. We're winning on the weekend. This season is turning into a really, really strong one, a really good one after a subpar September, which wasn't horrible. Nobody jumped off. One guy, I think, 2 guys were. Nobody jumped off anything, but not happy about anything going on at the time. But those 2 guys have gone back to doing whatever it is they do and losing money, betting on their own, I'm sure. The rest of my clients have picked up their bootstraps off not making 5 or 6 games the first week or whatever of September and have now built profit week after week after week. A huge October now followed by a huge November, deep into profit. Go to the results tab. Go to FatJackSports.com. Go to the results tab. Look at the plays. Every play's posted. Every play's documented. Last week, for the first time all year, we had lost Monday and Thursday. And so 0-2 going into the weekend. We did nothing but run off a 9-3 weekend. So we're going to win. We're going to make money for you if you're signed up. If you're going out of town, going to go skiing. They opened Breckenridge this last weekend. They opened Keystone this last week. A lot of people going to Colorado. If you're going to Colorado, take my picks with you. I'll pay for your lift pass and probably more with your winning. Just get signed up, open up the app, bet the games I send you, and then go ski and go eat chili. In the meantime, get signed up. $99 for football. Add basketball. It's very inexpensive. $40 or $50. Basketball's making money.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to FatJackSports.com, where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. FatJackSports.com.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and now here is our host. He's the big man on campus. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 2, getting ready to make some money this weekend. $99 weekend. We ran this about, 4 weeks ago. Had a bunch of people take advantage of it. They made money. Some of them re-signed up. Some of them didn't. So we're going to give them another shot to make some money betting the games, and then hopefully make a much better decision and get signed up if you didn't. If you did sign up before, you're getting a break on the service if you're a weekly guy. I have lots of guys that go weekly every week. I'm not sure why. When you go 9-3 last week, you should take that profit, sign up through the rest of the month. That'll get you past Thanksgiving. I think it's $2.99 now for football between now and the end of the month. So you pay $100 this week, you pay $2.99, get you everything, all that weekday. And I sent out a tweet. I hate tweets, but I sent out a tweet that basically said that the Tuesday and Wednesday profit, or the rider profit, or we played Sacred Heart in basketball this last week.
It's basketball season when you start getting texts from schools you have to Google.
Yeah. So we played Sacred Heart. They were getting 4, won by, 15 or so.
Mm-hmm.
We played American University. I guarantee a lot of people didn't know anything about American over Harvard last week. They were getting 3, won by 12 or so. So you're getting some of that. That money spends exactly the same as the money you're going to make this Saturday and Sunday for $99. So you don't want to miss the weekday games. It's important to not miss the weekday game because that profit builds up over I talked about our Monday night record, 9-3 on Mondays, and not losing on Thursdays. So that Tuesday, Wednesday, especially basketball season now, is not the time to be missing plays, because if you're missing plays, you're missing profit most likely, and that I can't get that back for you. So even if you win, you're not going to win as much as if you were getting the weekday stuff. So go through the end of the month. $2.99 football, $3.99 football, basketball. Get into profit. Build money. You treat this more like a business. Quit going to the fair every week. Now, the fair's been great. You've been winning a lot of stuffed animals, a lot of big stuffed animals with 4s and 2s, and winning on Friday. There's no sweat. 4-1 Sundays, no problem. Everybody's winning. But and you can do that for $99, or you can pay less than that. Do the math. Go through the Super Bowl. You're paying less than $1,000 to get football through the Super Bowl. How many weeks are we now in the Super Bowl, Brandon? It's the middle of February.
12.
So 12. So it's 12 weeks. All the weekday games, all the bowl games, all the playoffs, everything. And by the way, some free prop bets, because I'll probably give out those free props for the Super Bowl for free with that package, with just a football package. But you get everything through the Super Bowl for 12 weeks for $1,000 or less. So you're paying about $80, and you get all the games, not just Friday, Saturday, Sunday for $99. Think about it. That's what winning players are doing. They're getting signed up long term. They're taking advantage of those discounts. And they're making money. FatJackSports.com. Brandon, I got in trouble last week
with the law, with Karen, with tell me how you got in trouble.
No, neither of those.
Okay.
I had 2 different radio stations reach out and tell me that they would prefer that I did not say a certain thing that I said, and I say a lot. And I mean,
we're back in like prime 2005 Fat Jack.
We are. It's I'm back getting cease and desist letters from Budweiser.
Yeah.
We're back. When I did the real American heroes who signed up for the Fat Jack Sports Service, and real men, did that whole thing, and got cease.
Was asked politely not to anymore.
Asked politely not to. Yeah, we're literally back to 2005. So this week it was one of those. I said, which I stand by, that the Utah BYU game was going to be a whiteout even if everybody wore black.
I believe you said on the show not a single African American at the game.
So I drilled down deeper on the show.
Oh God.
I mean, apparently on the show I drilled down deep. I didn't even say that on the air, but they didn't like the fact that 98% of all Mormons are white. I didn't make this up, Brandon.
You didn't compile the stats. You're just simply observing.
I relayed the information to the people. That's all. I put out the information that was there. It's like me walking outside in Antarctica and saying, God, it's freezing cold out here. And then somebody getting mad that I said it was freezing cold out there. I don't understand why that is my fault. And I've said that for years because it's the truth. I've been to Utah a number of times. Love skiing in Utah. I've been there a number of times. I have not seen.
Yeah, Mormon friends.
But my wife's best friend and one of my best friends is Mormon.
Right.
He's like a grand poobah or something. I mean, he's a big deal. It's not the grand poobah. That's from Happy Days, but whatever. He's something with the Mormon church. He's a big deal. And I love these, my favorite people in the whole world. It's nothing to do with Mormons. It's nothing to do with anything.
Not derogatory in the least.
It's nothing. It's literally nothing. But somebody, it gets a laugh about, not a laugh, but it gets at least a smirk or a smile when I tell that little joke. Probably 98% of the time. Unfortunately, the two people out of 100, I guess they're either work for the radio station or listen to the radio station. They did not like that. So, okay, and frankly, I'll just tell you, I don't care. So
that's not what we're here for.
Not here for that. You're not paying me to go on and entertain the masses. I'm being paid to make money for my clients and myself, which I want to do this weekend for only $99. So, but I just, come on, lighten up, people. Bigger problems. I blame the election, honestly. It's going to be tempered down for at least for a bit, but I'm sure Thanksgiving will start to ramp some stuff back up, and then the holidays, and then we get through January. So by the time we get to February, people might not be as offended. They're so sensitive right now. Everybody's so sensitive. And what's funny with the election, only thing I'll say about the election, I am curious from the Trump people, and this is not a political show. Don't care. It's much better for me financially if Trump wins. If the Democrats had won, I just would feel a little better about myself, probably.
Sure.
From I wouldn't need a shower.
A moral high ground. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm okay. I'm not a political person at all. I am curious though. It was the 2020 election still rigged? I am curious about that, because there's two things that Trump are saying. Don't email me. I don't care. Please don't
tweet. Don't.
Because I'm not.
Email.
I listen. Congratulations, I'm excited for you. I think that's economically. I think it's great. Blah blah blah. I shouldn't have to say all that. Here's the point. Before the two things that drive me absolutely insane about that side. There's a million things about the other side too, but the two things drive me insane about that are, number one, that the government controls the weather. All right, you stepped into the world of you're an idiot when you say that. I mean, that you've literally lost all credibility. And if I was a big MAGA guy, I would cringe every time I saw somebody. I would say, listen, I know we're on the same team, but please shut up.
I'm open to understand, or at least conversate about certain conspiracy theories. The instant those words come out of your mouth, I just shut down. Like, no, I'm going to build the wall around you.
We've lost our way.
Right.
The minute that we're listening to people say that the weather is controlled by the government, by the way, when does that transition take place? So now Trump gets to now.
Right. Yeah. Is January 21st? Then
we're getting another.
Then the weather's going to be
up to New York.
We're not going to have any more earthquakes and tornadoes and hurricanes.
Or we're gonna be able to designate them to the Democratic places. Like, we're gonna have that new thing that took out Hoboken, went up to the northeast. It was like a hurricane in the north and froze everything up. Or California is going to break off into the ocean. I mean, I'm not sure how that works exactly, but that's the one thing. When people say the government controls the weather, that's so stupid. The other one is, Brandon, and please, again, I don't care. I will delete it immediately. I have a whole big insulated system now where I don't have to hear you, that the election was rigged in 2020. So I guess my question is, with the Democrats being in charge, how is it not rigged again? Why wouldn't I would have rigged it? If I could have rigged the 2020 and I pull one over on the MAGA people, I would have absolutely rigged this one.
It's called going back to the well.
Yeah, why not? I mean, especially when you get dominated how you did. You get beat in every state. Every swing state goes for Trump, and everybody. Right. If it's rigged, I'm rigging it again. Let's roll it back. Let's run it back. Trump will be dead in 4 years probably because he's 85 or whatever. Maybe he won't, but if he's not, I'll run it back if I could rig it. So I'm just curious if they're those people, or is it like a Little League team? Because that's what always reminded me of. You go to Little League and you take your kids and they lose the game. They're 7 years old. You take them away. They lose the game and they lose. And they go, don't worry, let's go get ice cream. That whole thing was rigged. The refs were against you.
I literally, Jackie, you say that yesterday, or over the weekend, I should say. My best friend's kid was playing in a soccer tournament in Indianapolis. Went up there just to see them hang out. They won the first game of the soccer tournament 5-0. Parents were yelling at the other parents in the parking lot about how the refs handed them that win. Sir, it was 5-0.
Yeah, let's not even get into Little League, because that's a whole other.
That's a whole other show.
I'm gonna have 50 emails from, none of them will I read, but from people with Little League parents saying officials rig it all the time. No, they don't. The officials are literally in middle school most of the time. Nobody's rigging anything in Little League sports. I mean, these guys. I was a Little League umpire for a little bit. Nobody's rigging anything. Nobody cares. We're just trying to get paid and move on. That's all I was doing back then. Anyway, so I'm just curious, if was it rigged? If it wasn't, let's put that to bed, because every single person who worked for him at the time, who was put under oath, said it wasn't rigged. So I believe them, and I'm okay with the fact that he believed or wanted to tell everybody else. Although I think he 100% knows it wasn't rigged, but whatever. And congratulations to the Trump people and the MAGA people and whatever. Let's go. Let's go.
And if we can control the weather, let's 72 and sunny. Can we do that?
That's even better. Yeah.
I mean, apparently that can be done.
I would love. I like I say, I think most people understand that nobody's controlling the weather. It just, those are the two things that I just would always look and just shake my head like, you've applied zero common sense to this at all. Yeah. FatJackSports.com, $99 for everything through Monday. NFL, Brandon. 4-1 last week. Easy wins. We're basically just rolling along. It's the same this month. It's always easy in November. I will tell you, I lost in the Hilton contest. I moved up to the top 100 out of, I think there's 11 or 12,000 people in that contest. A bunch of people, over 8,000. I think it's more like 10. I moved in the top 100 before last week in both the Circa. I think I was 120th or something, but in the super contest, moved in the top 100, and then promptly dropped off at 2 and 3 because, and the reason, the difference is that our picks, and normally I'm complaining about this. I'm saying, okay, well, the Hilton contest, I'm so-and-so, and I'm hitting 74% or something, or 72% or whatever it is at this time of year. But I'm not able to give the totals also. And so with the clients this week, I had what? 3 sides, 2 totals. And so the 2 totals, I had Chicago in the contest. They lost. And I had another one. I want to say the Jets. Yeah, it was the Jets. I had the Jets, and they lost also. So in the contest, I go 2 and 3. And then, but with the clients, I go 4 and 1 because I had some totals thrown in there. But this time of year, Brandon, it's always profitable in the NFL. Almost always it is, because even if there's some variance and some bad breaks, we're staying away from most of those games. I was a miss on Chicago, and I'll be honest with you, I got caught up in another one, a buddy of mine that is a very good gambler and very, very hot. And I like Chicago, but they moved in as the 5th play. They were just an opinion. They weren't a selection, but they moved in as the 5th play because he had a lot of very good points, and I did like the fact. I like Chicago as a favorite. I like them at home. I would not play them as a road team or an underdog. But there is and New England had lost 4 of their 6 games by 14 points or more. They were not afraid to go and lose badly, lose by a lot by NFL standards. The problem with that is Drake May is getting better.
Yeah, and that's something that you don't have a trends to follow. You don't have, you can't predict sometimes rookie quarterbacks progressing. You expect him to struggle, but when he's making some of the steps that he's making, that's hard to handicap.
How quickly? That's the thing.
Yes.
That's the variable, is how they're going to improve. He's going to improve, and he's getting better. Their offensive line, because he's getting better and making better decisions, is playing better. When he first came in a few weeks ago before London, they couldn't protect anybody, and that was the difference. Is that they were not protecting anybody. He was lost. Now the game slowed down a little bit because he's making better decisions. This is a team that's playing really well. So I guess the point is that we're so dialed in the NFL. I expect this to be another huge week. Big games. Obviously, have the Ravens and the Steelers. That's going to be the one that jumps off the page. Other than that, anything else jump out at you?
Chiefs-Bills in Buffalo is going to be electric. Because of obviously their history in playoff situations. Kansas City remaining undefeated after blocking a field goal at the buzzer. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, like you mentioned, is going to be a good one. There's a couple interesting spots though for teams who are coming off of tough wins, who might be in a letdown spot because they're playing bad teams. Looking at like Detroit, Minnesota. what I want to see what Atlanta can do bouncing back. But yeah, Kansas City, Buffalo, and then Baltimore, Pittsburgh are like the top 2 games this week.
So let's just put a blanket on. Is Kansas City do they go undefeated? If they don't go undefeated, how many losses do they have this year?
I mean, we haven't had an undefeated team in 50 years, so I'm gonna wager on no. But looking at the rest of their schedule, if they get through this weekend, and that's a big if because Buffalo is playing some very good football right now,
and a favorite. Buffalo's a favorite.
Kansas City has 4 very winnable games after this, where they play the Raiders, Chargers, Browns, and Panthers. They finish though Texans, Steelers, Broncos, with the 2 of those last 3 on the road. So no, Kansas City's not going undefeated. I think they probably lose 3 games the rest of the way. I think they lose this weekend in Buffalo, and then I think they drop one of either the Texans or Texans and Steelers down the stretch. And if that point they're locked into a playoff spot, the number 1 seed, they rest their starters in the season finale against Denver. They lose that one. So I'm going to put it at 3. Which feels weird to say that a team that's undefeated and 9-0 is going to lose 3 games the rest of the way.
Well, but if you look at how they got there, people always like to do that. I mean, how do we get to this point? I mean, this is not a team that's been winning 45-0 every week. I mean, they've
been playing great defense though.
They get the pass. They absolutely have. They get the pass interference call against. They get the out of bounds. Remember the out of bounds at the end of the game against the Ravens in Week 1 with the tippy toe on the end. They win 27-20. Then they get the pass interference that a lot of people tell you wasn't pass interference against the Bengals in Week 2. They then get there was at least the Chiefs Bucks was overtime. They win a coin toss. Nobody's stopping anybody late in that game. It didn't seem like. They win the coin toss. So it's been an NFL journey for them. They've just been right. They've just gotten it right. They also had a close one against the Falcons in Week 3. So this is a team that probably, we talk a lot about University of Miami in college. And I said literally for a month before they lost this last week, which I can't believe I didn't release Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is so good in that underdog role, Brandon. I mean,
especially at home.
Golly, their head coach is just really good, not only covering big numbers, but winning straight up. We'll talk about that maybe in third segment. But anyway, with Miami, I always say they shouldn't be undefeated. And I believe that shouldn't be. When you have toss-up luck things, just like in gambling, when you have toss-up luck things at the end of a game that turn the game one way or the other that are total random, like Hail Marys, like just different things that, like if you take the ball away 5 times in a game and you win by 3 points, those type of things, those are games you probably shouldn't win. I factor those in. So the Chiefs have a number of games that you could say one of those could have gone the other way, right? I mean, they're a great team. Patrick Mahomes is still everything. We don't need to go through all that.
Well, but you're absolutely right. If they don't block the game, they don't block the field goal at the end of the game, they lose. If they lose the coin toss in overtime against Tampa 2 weeks ago, they might lose. They have 7 one-score games. So yeah, you could point to probably if half of those games, one thing goes against them, they're 6-3 right now instead of 9-0.
Yeah, I would say this. I think it's probably 2.5 losses is the number lay to go under right now. People would bet under at 2.5. I think they find a loss, might be able to find 2. You're going to have trouble finding a third. It might even be 2. Might be 2 with some pushes. 2 lay to go over type deal. But it's an interesting thing because the one thing you don't want to do, you do want to go undefeated. That you're hearing them say that in the locker room. You're hearing them, that's coming out in press conferences. But the last thing you want to do are have some losses late. We've seen this before, Brandon. Teams now they hadn't been the Chiefs, and they hadn't had Patrick Mahomes, and Taylor Swift's been nowhere to be found. But you do have teams in the past that have run through the majority of their schedule undefeated, lost once or maybe twice in the last month of the season or so, and then promptly exited the playoffs either in Week 1 or Week 2. There is that balancing act. Now, with the Chiefs, maybe they're different. There's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do, try to lose? I mean, that's not a thing. So they get the Bill. Interesting game this week. Bills 2.5 point favorite at home. Bills are not without flaws. I mean, that's the thing. This is a Bills team. By the way, we had Buffalo as one of our releases last week, one of the easier ones. I have Buffalo. I have a big ticket on Buffalo. I say big ticket because I get long odds, but I don't know.
A big payout ticket.
Yeah, 20,000 or so. If Buffalo wins the Super Bowl, which I've said before, I don't believe they're going to win the Super Bowl, but if they get in the playoffs, they'll be able to heads that out. They're kind of them and Dallas are my 2 teams. That Dallas one, I'm going to throw that one in the fireplace here tonight for heat, I think. But but them being able I think they're good, but they are not without flaws, is Buffalo. So I don't know if and Buffalo has gone over 5 of their last 5 games at home. Their defense has not played as well, especially to down the field passing. So let's not get enamored in what Buffalo was able to do against a couple of teams that are not that dangerous. You talk about Seattle with the injury to their big receiver. I mean, they're not near as dangerous. We're seeing that to throw the ball down the field. Patrick Mahomes, always dangerous. I'll tell you, I'm off Otten a little bit because the market's caught up with him.
It really has, yeah. His number, his catches total generally was around 3.5 or 4. It was like 5.5, 6 some places this past weekend.
And he had 5 in the first half and a couple of drives.
Yeah.
And then caught nothing after that. I mean, they just literally went to White instead, went away from him. They couldn't get the 6th catch to get that one, over the number. But I will tell you, even with the numbers as high as they are, Travis Kelce's number over, I'm probably going to continue to play going forward. And I understand the Taylor Swift effect. I understand how everybody knows that. But I also understand what the dynamics of what the Chiefs offense is doing. They don't have a ton of receivers. They did pick up Diggs, but he's their running game right now.
Yeah, Travis Kelce is the running game, and if DeAndre Hopkins can maybe stretch the field a little bit to get Kelce more room, you can only see his usage numbers go up.
And so he's going to get his chances between he'll get 2 shuttle passes a game,
which I love. I love that play.
And the easiest catch in the world. We're not talking yards. We're just talking about volume and catches. So
yeah.
So we need 1 or 2 of those. A couple of they'll run a little bubble screen to him, where they just basically throw it, which I'm amazed more teams don't do. Well, if you're not playing press coverage against him, which I understand why you can't, and you get any type of good blocking out of your tackle and guard on the right side, and you just turn and throw it to him, it's a running play. He leans forward, he gets 3 or 4 yards. The Chiefs do that better than anybody. I don't know why more teams don't, but you're getting 3 or 4. Half of his catch totals are just on those. So he has to catch 3 balls down the field. You would think that Buffalo's going to move the football, going to score some. If they score some, now I will tell you, Buffalo at home, especially when they play good teams, their totals generally go under. If you look back, Buffalo goes over the total whenever they play bad teams, and so do the Chiefs. The Chiefs go under when they play good teams. They go over when they play bad teams. That's typically how it goes. So expect even good offensive teams, it typically stays under. So, but if there's any scoring at all out of Buffalo, Kansas City's going to have to stretch the field. They're going to have to get down the field, and that's going to help Travis Kelce's total. So I would go over with him. I would go ahead and play under in the game. So over in his catches, under in the game. No opinion just yet on the side. May change my mind on that, but as of right now, I'm not. Boy, I wouldn't want to bet on when. We always talk about streaks ending. I don't want to bet on streaks to end. And Kansas City losing is obviously a streak ending, and I think they're going to lose 2. But I don't know where they're going to be, and I'm not comfortable betting against Mahomes, especially as an underdog. We didn't even talk about that. But him as an underdog, I want to say 14-1 against the spread. I don't know if you have that number.
Which is obscene.
Yeah, 14-1 against the spread, and straight up about the same. I mean, you just don't give him points. So I'll have that information by the time I go on the air on Thursdays and Fridays. But yeah, him as an underdog, not a good idea. Generally speaking, he's getting points right now and probably will. So FatJackSports.com, $99 gets you through the weekend in football. $2.99 gets you through November in football. $9.99 gets you the Super Bowl, all the bowl games, the playoffs, everything, all the weekday profit, all that kind of stuff. For like $300 or $400 more, you can get basketball between now and the Super Bowl. It's turning a great profit also. And if you think about that, what that costs you to get basketball added to your football right now, when you sign up, that's a very, very good deal. It's less than about $30 or $40 a week to add basketball profit all the way through the Super Bowl. Beyond that, the deals get even better. Long-term packages save you a ton of money. Sign up long-term and win.
This is Brandon Rush from the Fat Jack Sports Service. If you want to stay in touch with everything related to the Fat Jack, follow us on all the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it, we are there at Fat Jack Sports. You can also watch the Fat Jack Sports Hour on YouTube every week. Get free winners and tips on how to become a better sports bettor. Plus, see Jack's appearances on the nationally syndicated TV show Beat the Odds. Stay connected with the Fat Jack Sports Service at Fat Jack Sports on all the socials and on YouTube.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to fatjacksports.com, where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. fatjacksports.com.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and now here is our host, ready for Turkey Day. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 3. Wrapping up the show, getting you ready to make some money this weekend. College football not gone well for a lot of fans out there, Brandon.
And I feel like this weekend could be one of those weekends where it trips up a lot of people because there aren't those marquee games, and we have a bunch of good teams playing a bunch of bad teams, and they're just automatically going to bet the favorite.
No, they're going to bet the favorite, and the favorite generally won't get you the money. So last week, the big favorites were not getting the betting public did okay on some games and not okay on some games. That translates into not good on Saturday. So last week's public betting plays Georgia, LSU, Indiana. How'd those do?
None of the 3 covered.
Yeah, so BetMGM loved every bit of that. We went 4-2-1. So you guys took your money and you gave it to them on Georgia, LSU, and Indiana. We didn't have any of those, and so we then picked up the money that you dropped off with our 4-2. On Sunday last week, the 3 most bet teams in the NFL: the Lions, loser; the Bills, which I knew that at the time was a public play, didn't care, bet them anyway. They won and covered, and the Vikings did not cover.
It won without scoring a touchdown, but did not cover.
You know what irritates me about that is that the Vikings last week closed at 7, and were bet way up from that, but they did not open at that. They with the contest that I'm in, they were 4.5.
Oh, and
so I played the other side. And I lost. And so that is irritating because that's one of those that the line got me, not the game, because I like the Jaguars plus the points. But when I bet the contest, I bet the Jags plus 4.5. They end up losing by 5. So that's
those contests, for people that don't know, those lines are set. Like if you make your contest picks on Wednesday or Thursday or whenever by the time they're due, but if that game shifts to 7 or that game shifts either way, you're stuck at that point, right? Those are not fluid lines.
Yeah, on the contest you are. Yeah, you're stuck before. I felt like I played the Jags before, and I backed off. Like I said, we didn't play the Jags. I didn't release the Jags, nothing. But when I was doing the contest stuff, which is on Thursdays or Fridays, depending on whether I'm going to play Thursday night or not, I normally will look at that. Am I getting value or not? And I knew the line would go that way. But if I don't care, I don't care, you know. And it's not like it was super deep in who I was going to play. But
sure.
But that was another one of those general public, unless you bet it on Thursday, I guess, at either Superbook or Circa, you didn't get 4.5. You got worse than that. So you went 1 and 2. You went 1 and 5 with the highest bet games of the weekend last week. My clients went 4-2 and 5 and 1, or 4-1, 4-2 and 4-1. So get signed up. Go to fatjacksports.com, $99. So any final games, Brandon, you want to look at before we get out of here real quick?
Interesting spots for college football teams who are in contention that could be tripped up this week. BYU, lucky to win last week, has to play Kansas, who of course we had as a winner last week. If BYU needs to get into wants to get into the playoff, of course, winning the Big 12 is going to be their only path. Losing to teams like Kansas, not a good spot like that. Wisconsin hosting Oregon. Feels like Wisconsin's good for one of these every year where they kind of sneak up and get somebody. Is this the time? I don't know.
I'll throw another one in there. Texas going to Arkansas. Arkansas looked so bad last week or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah, against Ole Miss. Yeah.
And so people will remember only that, and they're going to play the Longhorns on the road. This is that trip-up game. Arkansas is not going to dazzle you on film. You're going to see a pretty mediocre team, but you're having to go play them in a really difficult place, and you can't show up and turn the ball over. I'm not sitting here saying that Arkansas is going to beat Texas. I'm just saying that is a spot. We're talking about trip-up spots. I would say that one has as much, if not more, of a chance than Wisconsin, who couldn't score on you and I, figuratively speaking. beating Oregon, but you're right. It can happen. They are worth one of those a year. The other one, Pitt hosting Clemson. Clemson 10-point favorite on the road. So some of those super dogs, or whatever they call them, master lock super dog deals, those they will be in play this week on a week that a lot of marquee games are not taking place. So guys, don't drink and drive. Wager responsibly. Get signed up. $99 this weekend. FatJackSports.com if you're betting, if you're going to Kansas or one of the many, many, many states other than the 11 that don't have sports gambling.
Yeah, congratulations, Missouri. You are now one of 39. The other 11, sorry about your luck.
Yeah, not doing fine, Oklahoma, in the world of sports gambling, or California or Texas. I'm looking at all three of you. Go to FatJackSports.com. Win this weekend. Have a great weekend, guys. Until next week. This is for Brandon Rush. This has been the Fat Jack and the Fat Jack Sports Hour.